Hi, I'm Maureen. I'm going to be going over the isolation and reactions of cholesterol experiment. This is a 3-week experiment. In the first week, you're going to be isolating cholesterol from crushed gallstones, and the following 2 weeks, you're going to be doing a series of reactions on your purified cholesterol. This experiment uses a lot of principles that you used in the previous experiments, so it would be a good idea to review some of those videos. In week 1, you'll be purifying your cholesterol from crushed gallstones. To do this, you're just going to be doing a recrystallization, so you can review week 1 experiment for that. In the following week, you're then going to take your purified cholesterol. You want about 3 grams of it, and you're going to dissolve that in 20 mils of ether. You're going to add that to your beaker, and you're going to place a watch glass on top and heat this on the steam baths that are set up in a separate fume hood. You want to make sure this watch glass is on your beaker, otherwise your ether is going to evaporate. Once it has dissolved, you're going to let it cool to about 25 degrees Celsius, and then your TA is going to add 15 mils of a bromine solution. As your TA adds the bromine solution, you'll see that the solution turns yellow and you'll have a yellowish white precipitate. You want to make sure that you add enough bromine so that the product stays a little bit yellow, so that you know that all the bromine hasn't been used up. Then you'll place your precipitate onto an ice bath to allow all of the product to precipitate from solution. Meanwhile, we're going to make a 1:4 ether acetic acid solution. To do this, we're going to add 5 mils of ether. When you're measuring out solutions and liquids in your graduated cylinder, make sure that you pour a little bit in a beaker first, and then pour from the beaker into your graduated cylinder. So we're going to add 5 mils of ether, with 20 mils of acetic acid. And you want to put that on ice to let it cool. Now that your product has completely precipitated, we're going to filter it by suction. At this point, you want to keep it moist, and we're going to move directly on to the next reaction, otherwise the product will degrade. Now we're going to put our dibromide into a 250 ml Erlenmeyer flask. And we'll dissolve that with 40 mils of acetic acid. And making use of our hot plate, we want to heat that to 45 degrees Celsius. For this reaction, it's really important to maintain the temperatures indicated in your lab book. Make sure that you don't use your thermometer to stir the solution and that you don't just leave it in the Erlenmeyer flask sitting there. You want to make sure that you're actually holding the thermometer to measure the temperature of the solution. Once your solution reaches a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius, you're going to have your TA add a sodium dichromate dihydrate solution in acetic acid. You're going to add it slowly. Now you want to continue stirring the solution and maintaining the temperature between 55 degrees and 65 degrees Celsius. Again, remember not to stir with your thermometer. You want to use a separate stir rod. While stirring, you want to have an ice bath prepared to help maintain the temperature. Within 3 to 5 minutes, all of this solid should dissolve. Remember to periodically check the temperature. Once all the solid dissolves, you're going to continue stirring for another 5 minutes. After stirring for another 5 minutes, you'll see that the solution is a green color from the original orange that we saw when we added the sodium dichromate solution. Now we're going to lower the temperature by putting this on an ice bath. You want to continue to stir while on the ice bath to make sure that you prevent caking. So make sure you stir all along the bottom of the flask and the sides. While waiting for your dibromo-ketone to form crystals, you can prepare some methanol in a beaker and put on ice so that it's chilled later for use. You can now see that the dibromo-ketone has formed crystals along the walls and on the bottom of the flask. To remove this, just scratch the walls a little bit and stir. This is that caking I was talking about. After 10 minutes, you're going to add 10 ml of water slowly to the flask, making sure that the temperature doesn't exceed 15 degrees Celsius. Now we're going to filter this by suction.